This video series is for people who want to learn to improvise on the mandolin, fiddle, or violin, and give other players a way of studying and improving their improvisation. In this video, we look at some minor chord music theory so that in the next few videos, we can look at what to play over minor chords. Hello, I'm Pete Martin. For more instruction videos of mandolin, fiddle, improvising, and other music subjects, subscribe to my channel. Click the bell icon to be notified of new videos. If you are new to improvising, I would suggest starting with the first video in this series and progressing in order. You can see the link to it above. Folks who are already improvised can skip around, although concepts taught in later videos often use things from earlier videos. So you may want to start at the beginning as well. This video explains how the minor scales we're going to study and use are derived. We use numbers in music theory to describe the place of a note in the major scale. I show the notes in the G major scale here. Because the note G is the first note of this scale, we give it the number 1. D is the fifth note in the scale, so it is called 5. There is only one major scale in each key, and that is the notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1. Change any of these notes and it is no longer a major scale. However, there are several different minor scales: Dorian, Phrygian, Aeolian, melodic minor, harmonic minor, etc. As long as the scale has the 1, the flat 3, and the 5, the other notes can be quite different. For our purposes, we will study the two most commonly associated with folk music in the U.S., Dorian and Aeolian. Let's begin our study looking at the G major scale. If we take the G major scale, start on the G note, play every other note, and stop after 3 notes, we have G, B, and D. These are the notes of a G major chord. Because the root of the chord is G, the first note in the scale, we call this the 1 chord in the key of G. If we start on the note A, play every other note, and stop after 3 notes, we have the notes A, C, and E. These are the notes of an A minor chord. Because the root of the chord is A, which is the second note in the G major scale, we call this the 2 chord in the key of G. If we start on B, play every other note, and stop after 3 notes, we have the notes B, D, and F sharp. These are the notes of the B minor chord. Because the root of the chord is B, the third note in the G major scale, we call this the 3 chord in the key of G. If we start on C, play every other note, and stop after 3 notes, we have the notes C, E, and G. These are the notes of the C major chord. Because the root of the chord is C, the fourth note in the G major scale, we call this the 4 chord in the key of G. If we start on D, play every other note, and stop after 4 notes this time, we have the notes D, F sharp, A, and C. These are the notes of a D dominant 7th chord, which is just known as D7. Because the root of the chord is D, the 5th note in the G major scale, we call this the 5 chord in the key of G. If we start on E and play every other note and stop after 3 notes, we get E, G, and B, which are the notes of the E minor chord. Because the root of the chord is E, the 6th note in the G major scale, we call this the 6th chord in the key of G. If you like the material presented here, you may be interested in some of the 13 instruction books I've written for mandolin, fiddle, and improvising. I'm also available for private lessons in Seattle and Issaquah, or online through Skype, FaceTime, or other platforms. Check these out at either of my websites, petamarpress.com or jazz-mandolin.com. Also consider a small donation via PayPal at my email address shown here. Here is a chart of chords in the key of G major. The important thing to remember is in any major key, the 1 and 4 chords are major, the 2, 3, and 6 chords are minor, and the 5 chord is dominant 7th. When we encounter a minor chord while playing a piece in a major key, we need to know if that chord is a 2, a 3, or a 6. If it is one of these three, we use the notes of the major key of 1. Let's assume we are in the key of G. If the chord progression to improvise against is G, A minor, and D7, we will improvise using the notes of the G major scale. That's because all 3 chords occur in the key of G. If the chord progression we need to improvise against is G, E minor, A minor, and D7, we improvise using the notes of the G major scale, because all 4 chords occur in the key of G major. In the key of G, if any of the chords are G, A minor, B minor, C, D7, and E minor, we use the notes of the G major scale as our basis to improvise. We begin our study of minor chords and what we can play against them in video 22. If you have any questions or suggestions, please use the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm Pete Martin. Thanks for watching.